Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Agatha Christie's ABC Murders. Let's continue. So we solved the puzzle to get inside this chest, so there's going to be two items of interest, obviously, to look at. We're
Medicine.
trying to figure out, I guess, if there might have been...
Laudanum-based cough medicine, Mrs. Asher, and Dover Morley Laboratory, London. It's strange to find such an elaborate medicine from a leading London laboratory in the home of such a modest woman.
So I'm wondering if it's a possibility that the ABC listings of the railroad, the ABC book, whatever that is, and they really need to explain what that is, because it doesn't make any sense to me in modern times. Maybe that implies that the murder victim was a little bit richer than she seemed, or had a rich, lover. She seems to have some kind of pneumonia or something and is coughing up blood. So she may not just be a random victim after all. There might be an effort here to kill someone who is already dying, which might be more evidence to the thought that the ABC killer is hiding his true victims amongst a collection of false victims. It'd be highly unlikely for this first victim to be connected to the murderer. Here we've got a piece of paper that we'll flip over.
From Mr. Adam Flint,
And then he's just
Royal
gonna
Bank,
read it.
Eastfield
Great.
Road, Andover. To Mrs. Alice Asher, 5 Bishops Road, Andover. Dear Mrs. Asher, further to your request of 12 February 1935, I have informed my superiors of your wish to apply for a loan to acquire the lease of the shop you rent from Mr. Fairfax. Despite the seriousness of your case, I regret to inform you that your request has been denied. The amount of your personal contribution, £11, is not high enough and represents too small a part of the final transaction. I remain at your disposal for any questions. Adam Flint. Mrs. Asher's meager savings were not enough for her to own the tobacco shop, but will largely cover her funeral costs.
That's sucky. That £11 covers her funeral costs, and apparently £11 is a ton of money, which doesn't really make a lot of sense on the cash register then, because if we go back and look at that, it did seem like there was very high denominations on that cash register.
What a strange box. It looks like you have to slide the slats of wood to open it.
We already did one of these puzzles that was fairly short, so this looks like a Japanese puzzle box. So maybe this will be fairly easy too. This time it did let us get to the bottom of the...
This button appears to activate a mechanism.
So getting to the bottom of the puzzle. So we need to find the starting position as far as which place actually lets you slide something, because a lot of these seem like they are actually connected. So that does slide. Nope, we don't want to zoom out too much, and I immediately see a problem with the idea of it automatically sliding you out. They probably should just let me as the player zoom out instead of taking control away. Often I see these puzzle boxes that feel very much like they have too much technology in them. and would take up too much space if they were real.
A necklace of bright blue stones.
So maybe she was rich and she has some secret history.
Who is this young woman?
Turn it over and it'll read.
To my dear Aunt Alice, married Rower.
So, interesting, it jumps to a cutscene.
Have you found anything?
The victim has a niece. We must find her. I think I've looked everywhere here. Let us see if I can find any more information in the shop's surroundings.
Inspect the tobacco shop's surroundings. Is our new task or objective. We now have a Miss Dower character, which we can cycle through. And I don't think we have any questions to answer. Okay. You get 3 ego points for looking in the mirror. Well, geez, if you are going to get to 100 or 600 ego points, then there's probably some extra puzzles.
Mrs. Asher lived very simply.
So let's see if we can look in the mirror and can get some more ego points. I think like Poirot is intentionally probably written to be a kind of foppish, self-aggrandizing egomaniac. Not to an extreme a point, but as a parody of someone who's too self-confident.
There are cigarettes packets in a mess on the shelf.
And see, Sherlock Holmes definitely went way too far in that direction, the way he was written, which made him less relatable. So I think Agatha Christie probably made a smart move by making him a little fat, making him a little bit too rich and disconnected from the common man. Loading screens are telling you that you
4p a letters, a lovely large letters, 4p only.
I suspect this isn't a case
Get
where
your delicious strawberries
we are
here.
somebody murdered her to say get inside the building because there was, say, money or something buried.
This is a really cutthroat neighborhood. Anyone could have committed the crime.
Could be a bigger concept, though, of some land baron trying to get control of all the shops in the area. Maybe to
A
destroy
bottle
it
of
and
poor
rebuild.
quality vinegar. The smell could awaken the dead.
Okay. Well, it seems like there's nothing new. So, we're going to observe a person again.
This woman appears to be a smoker.
This system, I think, is probably the worst one of that that we've run into so far. And I was able to figure that
She's
out
a big
a
smoker.
lot better.
She must have been a customer at the tobacco shop.
That was way easier than the first one, because I realized we've been looking for things related to smoking. So let's now talk to the lady. So unless 100 pence doesn't equate to a pound, it seems really weird that 11 pounds would be all of our savings, and anywhere close to even sounding like it might be able to pay even a month's lease, because the fruits that are being marked in the back are being marked at like 70 pence, nearly a pound themselves. It would make a lot more sense if all the fruits and vegetables and the cigarettes were selling for a single pence or 2 or 3 pences each, and then 11 pounds at that point would start to feel like some large amount of money. There is a slight devaluation of currency in modern time compared to the old days, because there's just so much more that you can buy or are forced to buy or pay for. Nobody in this time is, for instance, paying for cell phone bills, TV bill, cable bills, Netflix, Disney Plus, internet connections. Nobody's potentially buying cars or gas in this time. They're at best riding the rails, or well, some people probably are buying cars, but not everybody. So I guess ask about the price of lettuce. Say that the strawberries are not fresh. Ask what a relationship with the victim. See, what would be funny here is we did see strawberries losing their juices. So I guess maybe they're not fresh. So maybe that'll get us some ego points.
Your strawberries appears to be rather soft.
Soft? The cheek of it. What are you trying to say?
Did you know Alice Asher well?
And for starters, who are you?
It gave me one
I'm
ego
Hercule
point.
Poirot, the detective.
You're foreign, that's for sure, with your accent and your odd way about you. And
Yeah,
you're here
she
about
definitely
Alice's murder, I
sounds-
suppose. Well, I've nothing
She
to
sounds
say to
Cockney.
Did you
as
speak
far
to the
as
victim yesterday?
the
you. No,
UK.
I never saw her.
So Poirot must be the foreigner. Accuse her of making fun of you. Ask her nicely to cooperate.
Please try and help me, madame.
Why should I help you? For your beautiful moustache? Heh,
She's contemptuous.
come on, move along now. You're scaring away my customers.
So I chose
Please,
the wrong
do not
thing.
be ridiculous.
The victim came to see her, accuse her of lying. See, like these are 9D. And I don't know what a D stands for. Is that a tenth of a pence, maybe? I guess that would make some sense.
I know that Alice Asher bought strawberries from you yesterday.
Well, you know more than I do then. Run along now. I have work to do.
Sarcastic. That gave me a achievement. I don't know if that achievement helps me in any way, or if there were different achievements for going about this in a different
A
direction.
bottle of poor quality vinegar. The smell could awaken the dead.
So what's our objective at the moment?
Hey, Poirot.
I guess
Is
that
the
was it.
greengrocer causing trouble? I'll sort her out.
No, please, leave her, Chief Inspector. I'll get her to talk later.
I found the victim's niece. She's waiting for you in the back of the shop.
So it seems like
Thank
we
you,
are
mon ami.
just
I'll question her.
jumping away from that and moving into another thing. So now we're going to question Mary Drower. I wasn't expecting... I wasn't really expecting this to stay in the same location. So we might very well have a good system here for this game where it's not going to try and take us to a whole bunch of different locations, and it's going to try and keep things a little bit smaller and easier to follow. Some point and click adventure games do go a little extreme on the location traveling, and not extreme enough. The time range in which she was killed. Well, she was seen alive here. She was found at 11 p.m. So we don't even have an answer there. Will that give me more of a more of an ego point? Let's see. Well, we might be able to reduce the number later, but I don't think we can now. Now we've got double issues. What was she doing? Let's see, cigarette pocket. Let's see. Packets in a muddle on the shelf. Was there. So one of these was wrong. She was taking a pack of cigarettes from the shelf, apparently.
The murderer probably pretended to be a customer. He hit the shopkeeper from behind as he turned around to serve him.
We assume it's a he. That gives us 5 ego points. And I suppose if we're getting about 5, then we have about 100 actions of some sort that we need to do. And the loading is still a big problem here.
I've finished with this subject.
Yeah. It says like 2D for Matchbox 1S. Maybe that's a shilling. See, I'm not really familiar with the UK
Jap had
currency
the body
system.
removed out of respect for the victim's niece. His attention is commendable.
Interesting.
There are cigarettes packets in a mess on the shelf.
So the name is Jap. Or Yap. But we'll just go Jap. It's a weird name. But I doubt it has anything to do with the insulting way in which Japanese people were referred to during World War II. This was almost certainly written before that point. So let's observe her, I guess. We just observe everybody.
Is her grief sincere?
Let's see. Handkerchief. Eyes. Modest black clothes.
She appears to be very upset. She's dressed in mourning. She looks fragile.
It's a little early to be dressed in black, I would say. It's like somebody calls you, hey, we need to come in and interview you because your aunt has died. It would make more sense for this interview to have taken place later on.
You're looking at me rather strangely.
Please excuse
Interesting.
me, Mademoiselle Drawer.
You can't observe twice, even though that seems like that's a prompt. Demand that she stops crying. Yeah, that's never worked once.
You were very fond of your aunt, am I right?
She was the only family I had since my mother died.
And that gave me ego points, so I assume that that's right. deduce that the inheritance is for her. Let's ask about children, I suppose, just in case.
Your aunt did not have any children, is that correct?
No. She was separated from her husband.
What do you think about Franz Asher, your aunt's husband?
He never left her alone. Poor aunt. She used to drop by all the time and
Not
make
much
a scene.
lip sync. Let's see.
Was your aunt afraid of her husband?
Both of those seem like
He
the same
shouted a lot,
question.
but she wasn't afraid of him. Why, he used to slink away when she turned on him. He was afraid of her, if you like.
Divorce would have been a solution. But yeah, for a point-and-click adventure game, you really don't need it to be perfect, like face scanning, lip flap synchronization. So I'm not going to really complain that this animation's a little rough or that the lip sync is a little off.
Did your aunt enjoy good health?
She had a bad throat, but she was well cared for by a doctor in London.
Does Franz Asher work?
All he's done for years is drink and gamble. But
See,
he
this
used to
is-
be a very good cabinet maker.
This is funny
Where does he live
because,
My aunt used to give him 5 shillings a week.
yeah, like, when you compare this to LA Noire and how they did full face scans to do this exact similar type of scene, it clearly highlights how you could have accomplished it for a lot less effort and a lot less production budget, I'm sure. Let's see. Should we ask if France forced her to give him money, or if the aunt had a reason to help her husband? Which, like, both of these seem like the exact same question, and I'm wondering, it would really suck for somebody who hadn't read the ABC Murders, which includes me, to have to potentially pick the right answer as in how Poirot would ask this question, or as in how it happened in the actual book. Making a video game that you can only perfect and get like all the achievements from if you had already read the story, particularly when it's a murder mystery story, would be a terrible concept.
Did Franz Asher extort this money from her?
No, no. She didn't let him intimidate her. She gave the money quite willingly. He was her husband. She couldn't leave him with nothing.
I understand.
She's getting at ease.
You
and
have
am
been
I
of great
supposed to-
assistance, mademoiselle.
Am I supposed to get her at ease, or am I supposed to not get her at ease? Like normally, you'd maybe want to throw her
Please
off.
take this young lady home.
My pleasure.
Well, this Franz Asher does not seem to be quite so dangerous as Jab says. And since Alice Asher gave him money regularly, it was not in his interest to kill her.
I guess that was our goal there, was to eliminate the husband. Which, yeah, suspect people near her is the standard method of operations for the police. So, 5 shillings a week. So can we now lower this? No. We're still missing an item, a bit of information. I assume looking in the mirror and adjusting your hair isn't going to let you get more points. I wonder if there possibly is more of a reason to come back to these areas. Maybe it's trying to highlight something you possibly missed. See, my only
An
thought
inscription in German.
is that
Souvenir of our honeymoon in the Black Forest. To my Alice forever, Franz Asher. The Ashers were a lovely couple when they were young.
was there perhaps something behind the photo? No. You don't have a way to look behind the photo. And there's basically nothing in these areas that
We have to wait for him to sleep it off. He's all yours, Poirot. There are a few things I need to check.
There must be some way of sobering him up.
I guess
I
we are
wonder what
going
his
to
wife used to do. He must have scared the customers away.
I'm really surprised that we aren't moving on to a new location. So I'm assuming we are supposed to look here, but we are also probably supposed to get the vinegar in them somehow.
A box of new stockings.
Yeah, it's questionable what
It's
Why
Alice
should we
Asher's
need
notebook.
stockings.
That's interesting. It probably contains information about our possible debtors and creditors.
Yeah, and if you have a business that's not really
Boldly.
succeeding,
The fruit seller has debts too. She will probably be more cooperative thanks to this piece of information. Mary Drower was telling the truth. Mrs. Asher regularly gave money to her alcoholic husband.
So, what that doesn't seem to mention is if somebody came in and bought anything before she was murdered. Because that wouldn't make the most sense, is that now with that ledger book, which is not the missing clue, but obviously that's not it. So, it does seem like the first chapter ends
A bottle of
once
good
we
quality vinegar.
leave this area.
The smell could awaken the dead.
So we need that vinegar. But I guess we have to talk to her first. Accuse her of selling rotten fruit. Accuse her of Alice Asher's murder. I mean, it's more likely she's selling rotten fruit than she murdered the person. So, is it within Poirot's personality, and would it get me more points to make a false accusation to throw her off? I think we go this route because she's been a pain in the butt anyways, so like throwing out false accusations to throw her off her defensive move might be the right move. Yeah,
I am accusing you of the murder of Mrs. Asher.
What? It wasn't me!
surprised.
According to the victim's account book, you owed her £10 for tobacco and magazines.
That's a lie. She owed me £1. I swear.
So, £11 is what she tried to use for buying a lease or paying a monthly lease.
Now, please be so kind as to explain this.
Look at my account book. Alice owed me £11 for fruit and vegetables. I may have had a slate at her shop, but she had one at mine. She owed me £1. And that reminds me I have to get it back from her niece.
That is quite enough. Your account book has saved you, but I might ask Chief Inspector Japp to throw you in the cells for 1 or 2 nights while he checks your entries. Do you want to go to prison?
Prison? Now that's not fair. I haven't done nothing.
In that case, I am counting on your full collaboration.
Yes, sir. Of course, sir.
So, you did
Listen,
have to get tough
I didn't
with
kill
her.
Alice, I swear. But it's true that I did go to the shop yesterday.
At what time?
6 o'clock. She left me a note saying she wanted some strawberries if I got some. I received them late, about 6. So I took them over to her.
But you did not see her.
She wasn't in the shop, so I just put the strawberries on the counter and left.
How long does it take rotten? How long does it take fresh strawberries to start losing their juice, I wonder? I mean, if they're not frozen at any point, which they probably wouldn't be in this time frame, they'd have to be pretty rotten. I guess we want more evidence, so accusing or ask if she was alarmed would be the accusing's wrong. Maybe alarmed is right. Let's go with this.
Did you see anything unusual in the shop?
No. Well, maybe one thing. There was a railway guide on the counter. Alice didn't sell them. Maybe it's the customer who left it there.
You were not alarmed?
I thought Alice had
And
just
then
gone
it
to
just
get her
jumps to
medicine
that
from
other
her room and
question.
that she'd be straight back.
You mentioned medicine.
Something for her cough. She used to take it a lot.
Who do you think killed her?
Lung
France.
cancer or something.
Her scoundrel of a husband. He was
Although-
always after her for something. Well, he's a foreigner.
Cigarettes from that time
sorry,
had...
sir. What I mean is he's German. That's even worse.
Did you see
Like,
Franz Asher
Cigarettes
enter the
weren't
tobacco shop late
as
yesterday
bad
afternoon?
as they are
Well,
today.
no.
They don't have
But
as
at
many
that time of the day, the
carcinogens in
streets are
them.
packed, and I have better things to do than watch her shop.
Okay. So one clue is now available again.
I'll just borrow your bottle a moment.
Take it. It's what Alice used to sober up her husband. But try not to empty the bottle.
That gave me 4 ego points.
Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
It's funny, they're called little gray cells instead of brain cells. This whole game feels like it's not English by default. Which is fine. And that may very well be the case. So those are the two. They get it between 5:30 and 6 p.m., which is a much smaller window range. And new objective. And each one of these are going to be labeled as in Andover. And now we need to question the husband. We don't have any more questions that we can ask. So back in we go. Says collect ego points by acting the same way as Hercule Poirot. So it does pretty much mean you're unlikely to get all the ego points unless there's just a whole bunch of extra ones, unless you are very familiar with Poirot and basically have read the story, which seems weird. It also feels very strange that several of these gameplay mechanics, instead of being told to us earlier when we needed to know about them, are being told to us kind of at the last second or past the point in which it would have been helpful to find that out. This almost certainly is just going to be a dud of an interview.
Mes amis, I can say without a doubt that poor Mrs. Asher was killed between 5:30 and 6.
Killed when the street was packed with people. That's rather bold.
It's probably a
I've been
good way
talking
to
to the
escape.
neighbors, and
No one's seen anything? Or rather, it's anything and everything. Am I wrong?
This
No.
is an interesting animation
Yeah.
style.
We must
It
grill
feels
this
a
villain
lot like
Asher
that
before he falls asleep
Japanese
again.
RPG in Ni no Kuni that was the original, the first game in the Ni no Kuni series was animated by Studio Ghibli. So yeah, you don't see something quite like this, which kind of makes it stand out. Interesting, we basically had a conversation there
Nothing suggests any sign of a fight.
We had a conversation with our assistant instead of with the husband. And I imagine you could
This
just
man is in rather a bad
skip
state.
the observations altogether if you wanted to.
This man has been fighting and he smells of alcohol.
But I don't know why you would want to rush through a game like this. Offer a cigarette, accuse him of having threatened his wife, ask what he was doing yesterday evening. I mean, this is true, he threatened his wife. And so do we get him off? Or do we offer a cigarette and try and win his affection? I think Poirot probably would offer a cigarette.
Care for a cigarette, monsieur?
What's that? Scented cigarettes? No thanks.
Bien. I was trying to be friendly, but you are quite right. Let us get down to business. You threatened to kill your wife, and now she is dead.
Give me
So
ego
what?
points.
You shouldn't take things so seriously, sir. Nothing but empty threats. We didn't get on all that badly.
So, if things were going so well with your wife, why did you not live with her?
She was the one that left. Nothing to do with me, sir.
Alright, well, if being nice didn't work, let's accuse him of ill-treating his wife.
You can't have treated her very well for her to run away.
No, sir, no. I wouldn't say I'd ever laid a finger on her, but it was only normal. She was my wife.
Are you often involved in fights?
I don't know what you mean.
Accuse him of fighting. Make fun of him for being beaten up. Yeah. Once again, I have no idea which one Poirot would do. Let's go with this one.
The truth is that someone gave you a good beating.
A beating? No way. All right, he tore my coat and gave me a black eye. You see the state of him?
Yeah, get him to brag.
Very interesting. Who is the other that you struck?
Probably best if I tell you everything. Yesterday afternoon, I met Roderick Tanner. We'd bet on a dog fight together.
An illegal bet, naturally.
Yes, sir. Our dog won. Roderick got the money, but he refused to give me my share.
And you fought about it. What time was this?
In the evening, about 6, I think. We were on the other side of town.
It's
You
kind
see, I
of
couldn't have
a
killed
little
her.
too much. How did he know when she died? I guess maybe across town is
Asher's
far enough
alibi appears
away.
to be confirmed. All the same, I'm going to call and check that he
The
did have a
music's
fight with
good,
this Tanner on the
but
afternoon
it should
of the
probably
murder.
be a little bit
You
less
can never
frequent
trust
and a
this
little
sort of chap.
quieter.
One thing is certain, Asher was a ruffian who used to beat his wife.
But he is not very educated. It certainly was not him who wrote the letter signed ABC. Let's resume, Hastings. We know the murderer pretended to be a customer. He did not kill her for money, that appears to be certain.
I agree with you on that point.
And the murderer left an ABC guide as a signature. Therefore, it's likely he wrote the letter.
Indeed, but that doesn't explain why and how he did it.
You are quite right. Why he did it is a mystery. But as for how he did
I
it,
doubt
we do
the
know
husband
enough
would
to
have
try and
known
reconcile
that
the
she had a
events.
lover, but I doubt her murder has anything to do with anything. I recently played a visual novel game called Danganronpa that at the end of each chapter you had to reconstruct a crime scene. I was not expecting to see it in this game. It's not a terrible gameplay mechanic by any means, and frankly, if Danganronpa had more of a point-and-click adventure style to it instead of just a visual novel linear story it was telling, it might have been a lot more interactive and more fun. So this is, I guess, the final stage of a chapter. So we've got
The
a
killer
reconstruction.
enters the shop.
And it's all going to be in a different animation, black and white. He did not attack, he advanced. This is a different
Mrs.
way to
Asher
do it.
turns around to greet her customer.
And then he asked for...
The murderer asks her for some tobacco. She turns her back to him. He seizes the opportunity to strike her.
Yeah. And then he, I assume, put the book down.
He then places the ABC on the counter before leaving.
The ABC was not found like that. We are not far from the solution, Hastings. Would you mind if we thought about it a little more?
Well, I guess he maybe turned the book upside down. Reconstruction failed.
The killer enters the shop.
So you've got to do it all perfectly. Otherwise, you
Mrs. Asher turns
have to
around to
reset.
greet her customer.
And I would hope that that doesn't mean I lost some points. And see, the shadowing here is very weird because it makes it look like she's got this big old scar or vitiligo on her face. When I don't think that's really what they were intending with it.
The murderer asks her for some tobacco.
And see, when it said turn
Turns her back to
around,
him. He seizes the opportunity to
I
strike her.
was thinking he would have turned around and looked.
He then places the ABC upside down before leaving. Everything appears to match the crime scene, mon cher Hastings.
An
That is
easy
exactly what
reconstruction,
happened.
though, not asking for a lot of input. So, yeah, I don't have anything there to complain about except for the loading, which
Asher
I
has a
would
strong
much
alibi,
prefer
and we
them
don't have any other suspect.
to
But what was the point of this
make
crime?
the next Agatha Christie
She had no
game
debts. She
versus
gave Franz Asher money
remastering this
regularly.
on the new
She wasn't
engine,
owed money.
so it got rid of
Nobody stood to
the
gain
loading
anything.
sections.
No doubt about it. The murderer is insane.
And I fear that we had not heard the last of him.
I hope you're wrong for once.
Bien, let's go back to London. If we hurry, we should catch the 7:02 train. Are you coming?
No, unfortunately, I have to talk with Andover police.
See you soon then. Are you coming, Hastings?
I could potentially
home. There's nothing
complain
for us
about
here.
some of the voice actors here, but yeah, I won't. I'll say it sounds fine.
Well, do you have
and
any
I'm
idea
much
about the
happier
killer's
to have
identity?
it all be voice acted
The crime was committed by a man of
by
medium
bad
height,
voice
with
actors
red
and
hair
not
and
be
suspicious
voice
eyes.
acted.
He has a slight limp on the right foot and a wart just below his shoulder blade.
Poirot!
Mon ami, what do you want? You fix upon me a look of dog-like devotion and demand of me a pronouncement à la Sherlock Holmes. Now for the truth. I do not know what the murderer looks like, nor where he lives, nor how to set hands upon him.
What shall we do then?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Do not be so impatient, Hastings. The killer will manifest himself soon enough.
I thought I heard the postman. Maybe there's some news.
I will go and see.
It's interesting. Read the letter. Seems like we can turn on the fan. This is a very
some
fancy
cool hair.
as a achievement for doing that, apparently.
Daily Flicker, June the 22nd, 1935. Battle over control of bank system. What will the government do for money? Andover, murder of a tobacconist.
Okay, there's an achievement. So I bet in this fancy office, like, Poirot seems to be very rich. There's all kinds of achievements. And he has all these pictures of Japanese geishas, which at that point, that gets weird. Because then you do have a character named Jap. And probably some knowledge.
Andover, Hampshire, population 31,200 inhabitants.
So maybe the ABC guide just tells you some basic bits of information about an area. We'll look in the mirror again. And that gives 3 ego points. Like, really, really rich. Let's see. Can we even walk past this point? Yes, we can.
It is not the right time. It is not the right time.
We're getting some default prompts. We can't walk into that corner even though it wants to try. We can't walk through that door. We do have a new goal. And more information about the witnesses. I almost assumedly suspect that we are going to run into a scenario where those characters play very little role. And clicking on this guy doesn't actually do anything.
Dear Mr. Poirot, well, what do you think? I believe that I won this round. The end of our affair went like clockwork, don't you feel? But the fun has only just started. I would like to draw your attention to Bexhill-on-Sea on the 25th of this month. We're having a crazy time. Best wishes, ABC.
And so you have 3 of the letters I written in a much bolder ink.
The next crime will be in Bexhill. We must warn Jap to Scotland Yard.
Did the letter indicate anything that might help the police?
To be honest, I think we can already guess something about the next victim. But I need to think about it a little more.
The letter B from the ABCs. Let's see. Thinking. Interesting.
Let us examine this more closely.
No, it's just that the typewriter specifically has an I that's deeper. Maybe that's supposed to indicate that it's going to jump from this being one I, capital I, versus this being 3 I's.
Certain characters in the 2 letters may have similar defects.
That might mean it's jumping over to C.
Yes, this I is weird. Yes, the I characters in the 2 letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects to confirm my theory.
And then you have the A, B, and C showing up at an angle.
Yes, the A appears to be quite unusual. That's right. The A characters in the 2 letters do indeed have the same defects.
Then I see
I
a
have to
W.
find some other similar defects to confirm my theory.
Let's see. Yeah, there's a W here and a W here.
The W is not printed properly. Of course, the W characters in the 2 letters do indeed have the same defects. My theory was right. These 2 letters were written with the same typewriter.
Like, we could have pretty
Both
much
letters
assumed
were
that.
written on the same typewriter and show the same characteristics.
You surprise me, Poirot. You usually ignore material proof.
But there is nothing usual about this case, Hastings. Nothing must be overlooked.
And see, I doubt we're gonna keep.
Let us
we're
now
gonna
try
spend,
and get our brain cells to work.
I don't think we're going to spend the entire chapter here. If we do, then we would perhaps have very short chapters and very long chapters. Those two on the first try. Let's see if that gives us a higher amount of points. What can we guess about the next victim? Let's see. That it will be in Bexhill. May start with the letter B.
So, Poirot, have you found something?
Oui, I believe so. But I am afraid it is not enough to stop the murderer. Let us go and see Chief Inspector Chapa will explain there.
Interesting, because I thought what we would do is look here, and he's got like this stuffed alligator. Is look at this, and then see if we can turn this.
Hampshire.
Can we get to B? Apparently not. See, that would make a whole bunch of sense if you could just turn the book to B and look in Bexhill.
Andover, Hampshire, population 31,200 inhabitants.
I wish there was a way to zoom in a little bit more on that, but I guess there isn't. So we're leaving his house, which is apparently called Whitehaven. So do you leave a house by calling people, or do you leave a house by...
It's impossible to get through to Scotland Yard.
Interesting. See, I don't understand a lot of these achievement names. It definitely seems like you could miss some achievements. And I'm not sure I'd really want to play this game a second time to try and get all the achievements. Unless I could jump around to specific chapters and have like an achievement guide that would help me. Maybe the game will just give us a lot of opportunities to pull off the achievements. So maybe I'll end up back in his house, Whitehaven. Apparently that he doesn't own the entire building, but that still was a very big fancy office. We also saw that he had a phone, so theoretically there are phone books. Maybe they haven't gotten to that point. Maybe so few people have phones that that's too much of a luxury for a phone book to really exist. The ABC guide clearly is more of a tourist guide, from what I can figure. We can also see cars exist and electricity exists, so that puts us in a more modern time frame. I kind of wish there was some confirmation as far as what we have to do to get to chapter 2, because it seems like we are not there yet, and I assume the notebook is going to stay the same. I assume we are just going to have a ever-growing list of little gray cells. Then we have this letter.
Dear Mr. Poirot, well, we're having a crazy time.
You have to skip 2 bits of the dialogue there. Here we have a random person walking by. Not a whole bunch of random people walking by, though. Random person over here. And from the looks of it, it seems to me like there isn't anything to click on here. So let's see if going to Scotland Yard is the thing that starts chapter 2.
To Scotland Yard, please.
We probably will use that scene at some point in the future to do a lot more. And I was not expecting it to put us outside of Scotland Yard. I was expecting it to just put us directly in the offices. We're still in chapter 1. Steam is coming up out of the sewer grates. There's a lot of random people, which that's nice. It keeps the game from feeling completely empty. Yeah, plenty of point-and-click adventure games do have like an obscure emptiness to them where there's just nobody else on the streets. And yeah, we've been going an hour, so I think this is as good of a place as any to end this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.